And when this one is over, the winner will stand alone as the champion of the Leaders Division of the Big Ten in the first year of conference divisional play in the Big Ten. Down on the field, dodging some raindrops, here's Tom Rinaldi.
Well, Sean, with all that has surrounded the Penn State football program in the last 3 weeks, solely within the context of football, it's been a time for coaches and players to unite and support each other. To wit, a week ago at Ohio State, an emotional scene in the Nittany Lions locker room. 71-year-old co-offensive coordinator Galen Hall among the first to greet players when they came in, embracing them, slapping hands with them. Coaches told us several players in tears after that game. Before this game, before the Nittany Lions took the field, no coach delivered the final words. It was the team captains reminding the players their first goal for this season remains intact, to make it to the Big Ten championship game. Finally, a word on these conditions. It's been raining steadily and lightly right now. Teams working on ball control and ball security with their specialty groups, scooping up balls, trying to catch balls. That could be very big if these conditions persist, Sean.
All right, Tom, thank you. Matt, for Tom Bradley and his team, normalcy is not a word they're going to experience anytime soon, given everything that has gone on and continues to go on and will for quite some time. They're enormously respectful of the ongoing investigation of the victims. But you get a sense that more and more week to week, the attention is starting to get back on football within the football team, at least.
I think Tom Bradley has done as good a job as you could ever imagine in creating a new normal for this football team. And I think he's done it consistently the whole time.
Penn State won the toss and deferred, so Wisconsin elected to receive the kickoff. Here's Jared Abbrederis bringing back the Anthony Farrah kickoff. Bounces off a tackler near the 25-yard line and advanced it out to the 37. Tackled by Drew Astorino, one of their starting safeties. 30-yard return of the opening kickoff by Abbrederis. Here's Russell Wilson, senior. 1 year only here at Wisconsin, transferred in from North Carolina State, leading the country in passing efficiency, and as you see, on pace to set the all-time single season record for pass efficiency held by Colt Brennan of Hawaii back in 2006. Throws quickly to Nick Toon. Ordinarily wears uniform number 1, but today in his final home game as a senior, wearing the 87 that his dad Al Toon wore when he starred here at Wisconsin. Al Toon, one of the honorary captains for the Wisconsin Badgers today. 14-yard gain on the quick hitter to Toon. Monty Ball, the lone back. Then they hand it to him straight ahead. Behind that enormous offensive line, Devin Still made the tackle to star that defensive front for Penn State. A look at some of the impact players today. We mentioned Toon. Here's their leading receiver, 5th in the Big Ten in receiving yards per game. Abbrederis, you already saw his skills on the kickoff return. He leads the country in punt returns, a walk-on sophomore wide receiver. Who's also their second leading receiver behind Toon. The tight end, Jacob Pedersen, shifted. Ball spinning a yard, and that's it. Tackled by Gerald Hodges, the leading tackler for the Penn State defense. He's a linebacker. Some of their impact players defensively, including Devin Still, a finalist for the Bednarik Award and the Outland Trophy. The Outland Trophy goes to the nation's premier interior lineman. Drew Astorino, senior safety, barely 200 pounds, but as you'd like to say, Matt, he shows up around the ball.
Well, he really does. Every time there's a play to be made, Astorino's in the middle of it.
3rd down and 7. Still was under the weather last week, and they went at Ohio State. Didn't have a tackle. He's already had one today. Abbrederis the catch, and the Badgers convert on 3rd down. It's another one of the things at which they excel. 55% on 3rd down for the year. That's 3rd best in the country.
What they do very well is protect Russell Wilson, and the ball comes out quickly. You see they're just sitting there in his zone. Abbrederis has a good awareness of where the sticks are, Sean. Make sure he has the first, and the ball's right on time.
Surprised Penn State was playing so far off on 3rd and 7.
Yeah, well, you're going to let them play underneath. I think they just kind of lost in terms of where the sticks were. Abbrederis didn't, however.
11-yard gain, another 1st down. Penn State 35. Play action fake. Wilson, a dangerous runner, throws short and incomplete. Intended for Abradaris with Astorino in coverage. It'll be 2nd down and 10 for Russell Wilson and the Badgers.
When you watch this Penn State defense, one of the things that they have to be cognizant of all day long is to keep Russell Wilson inside. Now that particular play, that was a called rollout. And so when he's really dangerous, Sean, is when he gets on the edge. He can create big things down the field. He puts pressure on your underneath coverage to make a decision whether to come up or stay back.
Going to go out of the shotgun. Wilson's their 3rd leading rusher for the year. 289 yards rushing, 5 yards a carry. Pressured by Jack Crawford, gets off the throw high, deep down the middle for the tight end Jacob Pedersen. Their 3rd leading receiver and one of the 8 semifinalists for the Mackey Award as the best tight end of the country, just a sophomore.
Crawford's on the left side. Now they're going to make sure Devin Still is not going to help. So he's going to get a push. Doesn't really get a push inside. Zeitler does a nice job on him, but they do a good job of coming off the edge and forcing him. One of the things that Russell Wilson does very well, Sean, is he climbs in the pocket. For a guy who can run, he likes to stay in the pocket.
Out of the gun again. They bring pressure and don't get there, and the wobbly pass is batted down. Excellent defensive play by Danton Lynn, a 4-year starter at cornerback out of Salina, Texas. It'll be 4th and 10, and the punting unit's going to come on.
This is just textbook. Now he takes his position, and then once he breaks to the inside, he undercuts him. Danton Lynn just did a nice job with patience, and then once the break is made, you have to burst.
Brad Nortman, 4-year starting punter. No one else has punted over the last 4 years for Wisconsin. Would be a 52-yard field goal from here. Very little wind in the stadium today, and they have a good kicker, Philip Welch, with a strong leg, but Brett Bielema has the punting team out. And Nortman's going to send that one into the end zone. Just barely. Got a nice bounce, but it went into the end zone, and it'll be a touchback. 50 degrees at kickoff. It's been raining most of the morning and a light rain falling right now. Clearly in the end zone. Warm for this time of the year. But we do have some rain that is supposed to taper off as the day goes along. Matt McGloin is the quarterback. Shared the starting quarterback duties for much of the year with Rob Bolden. Tom Bradley made him #1 clearly. His first pass caught by Justin Brown. Bobbled it for a moment. The pass was behind him. He made a nice catch and gained 14 to the 34.
One of the things that I believe this Penn State offense has to do in the pass game is throw on early downs. They get into 3rd and long. That's a position you don't want McGloin in. He can dictate a little bit with the 1st down and 2nd down throws. That was a nice catch by Brown behind him.
Coaches say McGloin's had his best week of practice of the season. Comes out throwing laterally to Curtis Drake. He's in trouble and dropped just behind the line of scrimmage by Antonio Finelis, one of the best cornerbacks in the country. First team All Big Ten last year and might be again this season. Impact players on offense. Silas Redd, as we mentioned, 3rd in the Big Ten in rushing. He's been bothered by a sore joint near his collarbone where it meets the sternum. Stephon Green has come on in recent weeks with Redd a bit banged up. Derek Moy, one of the all-time leading receivers in Penn State history. They're going to the Wildcat here as they did successfully last week. Bill Belton handed it off to Silas Redd. They broke out the Wildcat last week in their win at Ohio State for the first time this year. Both Belton and Curtis Drake served as the Wildcat quarterback. In all, 10 snaps last week against the Buckeyes for 114 yards, an average of 11.4 per play.
What happened, they were getting ready for the Nebraska game, and those quarterbacks were mimicking Martinez for Nebraska, their quarterback, Taylor Martinez, and he did it so well, they said, hey, we got to put this in, and they did it.
And it felt like with all the distractions around the program, it would be a good diversion for the team to focus on a new wrinkle like the Wildcat. McGloin back in on 3rd and 4. He's going deep, has a man, and it's incomplete. Davon Smith couldn't hang on. The fastest Nittany Lion at 4.3 in the 40 got behind the defense and dropped the ball. Well, and he's still down.
Yeah, he used all that 4.3, and that ball is right where it had to be, Sean. Perfect throw. You got to make this catch. That's a big time throw.
Jay Paterno and Galen Hall felt like they should have thrown the ball more last week in the win in Columbus over Ohio State 20-14, because McGloin was having a good day slinging it around. There's Galen Hall upstairs in the coach's box. He and Jay Paterno are co-offensive coordinators, and they share the play calling duties. They used to sit side by side up there, but with the coaching changes 3 games ago, Jay Paterno moved to the field and helped to take the place of Mike McQuarrie, the wide receiver coach, who's on administrative leave. And Jay is helping with managing the sideline personnel. But as each week goes on, they are getting the mechanics of game management down too among this revamped coaching staff. So there's the best punt returner in the country, Jared Abbrederis, back for the kick from Anthony Farah. They came after him and they hit him, and a flag is down. Wisconsin will be guilty of hitting the punter. Fair catch made by Abbrederis.
Kicker, number 20, return team. 5-yard penalty, yardage results in a first down.
It's James White is their backup running back. Started the year sharing the responsibilities with Monty Ball, and no doubt he hit the kicker.
Yeah, he did. They didn't call roughing, they called running into, which is just a 5-yard penalty, but like he said, it results in a first down.
John O'Neill is our referee today, leading the Big Ten crew. Brett Bielema trying to get Wisconsin into the first Big Ten championship game. They're 9-2, 2 excruciating losses each in the final seconds on the road in back-to-back weeks at Michigan State and Ohio State. Deep handoff to Silas Redd. With that sore collarbone, he was in for just 14 plays last week at Ohio State. He carried 8 times but had 63 yards. Mike Taylor made the tackle. He's one of the impact players on defense along with Chris Borland. Borland number 2 in the Big Ten in tackles with 118. And number 1 is Mike Taylor. 121 tackles, 6th in the nation. Junior who's battled knee injuries. Now it's Curtis Drake's turn in the Wildcat. We've seen one snap to Bill Belton. Now it's Drake who keeps it. They haven't thrown yet out of the Wildcat. It looked like Drake was intending to. He was a high school quarterback. He got 4 yards and came up 1 yard short of the first down. It'll be 3rd down and 1 in Wisconsin territory at the 46.
That looked like it may have been a pass, but I want you to look down on Drake. His left leg, he wears a cast. It's a molded cast, John. He broke a bone in his foot 2 years ago, and then they came back the next year and he broke it again. And so they have him in a cast. He wears it all the time. He practices in it all the time. It's padded up. It's a little
the exact
hindering.
same spot.
Yeah, it's a little hindering, but he makes it work.
Hand off to Red on 3rd and 1. He got the first down and then got driven back. They'll give him forward progress near the 44. And Drake thought his career might be over. And he does wear that protection to help him continue to play football. He has a calcium deficiency issue that makes that bone a bit more brittle than it might be in other people. He's a big weapon. Jay Paterno said if he was a bit bigger, he might be their quarterback in the style of Michael Robinson. Dual threat. 1st and 10, Nittany Lions. McGloin on the design right up. Has a receiver wide open. If they catch it, it's a touchdown. Curtis Drake. Touchdown, Penn State.
Blown coverage, Sean.
I would say so.
Wouldn't have been close.
If that was the coverage, they need to drop a new one.
It's on the outside. The safety bites hard, but he jumps it. I don't understand why Henry jumps it. Heck, that was a fair catch by Curtis Drake.
So running into the punter penalty kept the drive alive. And Penn State is first on the board, a 2-touchdown underdog. Extra point up and good by Anthony Farah. 8 plays and 80 yards in just under 4 minutes. White hit the punter. And then Drake waited for it to come down. 8th touchdown pass of the year for the junior, Matt McGloin. Back in Madison, Wisconsin, the Penn State Nittany Lions out to a 7-0 lead. Curtis Drake, just his 4th catch of the year, his first receiving touchdown for the sophomore from Philadelphia. Blown coverage by Wisconsin. He was wide open, and Matt McGloin found him. Jay Paterno says we have to throw the ball effectively if we're going to beat Wisconsin today. So far, the Nittany Lions have. Abradaris from the 7, bringing back Anthony Ferris kickoff. Tackled to the 24 by Michael Yancich. Let's go back and look at the touchdown.
Well, I want you to watch 3 people. Henry's the safety, Finellis the corner, and Davon Smith. They're going to run Davon Smith out into the flat. Finellis is going to bite, and the safety should get over the top. He does not, because his eyes keep him on Davon Smith underneath. They both watch him. They both bite. There's the bite. And the bite results in a hugely wide open Curtis Drake. And because the protection was there, the fast start from McGloin, what he was looking for, it results.
Russell Wilson on first down. Monty Ball bangs his way out to the 30-yard line. Gain of 6. Wisconsin defense discussing what went wrong on that last play. Statistically, at least, they're one of the best defenses in the country. Wisconsin, 7th in the country in total defense, 6th in scoring defense, giving up fewer than 16 points per game.
Yeah, that was not the norm. They've not played like that. They've actually played very, very good and have not given up big plays.
Ball. They fake it to him. The pass is caught by Nick Toon. Another quick pop out to the 46-yard line. A gain of 12 and a first down for Wisconsin.
You run play action to have your linebackers bite, and that's exactly what happens. Because of the play action inside, Toon is able to hold leverage with the defender on his hip. Those backers bite, and it's a big first down.
Gerald Hodges is the injured player. They're helping him to his feet, and it looks like he's going to be all right. He's their leading tackler for the season. 90 tackles coming in, 24 more than any other player on the defense. They've already lost Mike Motti for the year. He was injured in game 4, and that was a huge blow. They thought he was one of the best linebackers in the country. He's helping out the coaching staff these days. He is signaling in the defenses along with Larry Johnson, the defensive line coach and co-coordinator. There's Mike. The coaches say he has really embraced this role. Leader on the team, wanted to stay actively involved, and signaling has helped him do that. Ball across midfield to the Penn State 48. A run of 6 for Monty Ball, averaging 133 yards per game rushing.
Well, Monty Ball and his offensive line has taken it right to the strength of the Penn State defense. Zeitler, 70, you saw, just took Devin Still, put him right on his side. And then the inside, Frederick, the center, does a nice job also on Jordan Hill. You're going to run on this defense, and you gut it. That's the strength of their defense.
Wilson throws quickly for Toon, and a good tackle by Drew Astorino to stop Toon a yard short of the first down. Here's Reese Davis.
All right, Sean, time for a Taco Bell studio update. Oregon taking on Oregon State. Civil War. Ducks need to win to secure a spot in the Pac-12 championship game. Beavers haven't been very good. Well, Michael James goes in for the first score of the game. It's 7-0. Many can see it on ESPN2.
Well, the Ducks would play UCLA. That was amazing. The season they've had with USC not eligible to go. And the chips falling UCLA's way yesterday. On they go. Likely to get hammered in the Pac-12 championship game. 3rd down and 1. Ball straight ahead, first down. You know, a year ago at this time, Matt, as you know, he was kind of a lost soul. Number 3 on the depth chart. Mid last season, some injuries opened up the opportunity. He started to come on at the end of the last year, but he made the decision he needed to get in much better shape, change his diet, lost about 20 pounds. He's down to 206, but he still runs tough.
Oh, he's a strong runner. He runs through a lot of tackles, but what's really impressive with him, Sean, is his lateral cut ability. He has very good vision and good feet in the hole.
Here he comes again on 1st and 10, back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all. The middle linebacker, Glenn Carson, with a nice tackle.
Monty Ball, when you see him, he has great patience and good vision at the point. And then his lateral movement, like I said, he will stop and just go completely the other direction. Now, down the field, he doesn't really scare you with speed. It's not like he's going to just blow the doors off of anything. He can run away from you, but he can get walked down, too. Good strength, though. Good power football.
Pedersen, the tight end, the move man on 2nd and 10. They stick with Ball. Plenty of running room off right tackle. First down. Pulled down by Nick Suke, the safety, at the 27-yard line. First down, Wisconsin, after a 12-yard run.
I want to show you that lateral movement that he does so well. He'll start downhill. That's straight ahead. Then just that little bit right there. See that cut? It's just natural form. He flows with it. He's good. This kid, he lost some weight, Sean. He actually looks small when we were talking to him yesterday. It looked like he could get a little bit bigger, but he runs with good power.
They fake it to Ball. Wilson nowhere to throw it, pulls it down and gets a yard to the 25. Monty Ball told us yesterday the low point was last year when Wisconsin had that huge win on national TV against #1 Ohio State. Ball never appeared in the game, and he said it was my fault. I knew I wasn't prepared to play. I wasn't in the best shape I could be in. Wasn't fully engaged in practice, in film study. He just made a commitment that he was going to get in better shape, get with the program. He thought about asking the coaches if they'd let him move to linebacker, but his dad, Monty Sr., convinced him, stick with it, give it a chance, and they're all glad that he did. 2nd and 9, Abradaris. The catch at the 21. They'll need 5 on 3rd down to keep the drive moving with 4 minutes to go in the first quarter.
That one a little bit behind Abradaris. He had some green in front of him. This is still 3rd and 5 is a manageable down. This is where Wisconsin wanted to stay. 3rd and 5 or shorter. They believe they could win those downs.
Against an outstanding Penn State defense. 8th in the country in total defense. 3rd in scoring defense. They rush 5. Didn't get to Wilson. He throws. Caught. Touchdown, Jared Abradaris.
Might be blown coverages might be going around here today. There's a couple of them. First thing you have to be able to do, they're bringing Carson, so you have to have protection. So it's a 5-man pressure, and Abradaris just finds that slot in the middle wide open.
His 6th receiving touchdown of the year. Philip Welch the extra point. 10 plays, 76 yards. And we're tied at 7 with 3.5 to go in the first quarter.
ESPN's College Football is brought to you by Acura. Acura Advance.
Back in Madison, Wisconsin, where the Badgers have just tied the game.
Yeah, here it is. It's a coverage. It's a zone blitz. Here's the key right here. He's got to get to the middle. They're going to go deep. Ascarino has got to get a hit inside on the slot receiver. He doesn't do it. The linebacker carries the tight end right there. But Suke doesn't get over the top. He's got to continue. He bites. No hit on the slot receiver. Abradaris is open. 6 quick.
Russell Wilson's 27th touchdown pass of the year. He's been intercepted only 3 times. Philip Welch kicks off. Out of bounds.
Ooh. Free kick out of bounds. Kicking team. Ball be placed at the 40-yard line. 1st and 10 for Penn State.
Penn State and Wisconsin tied at 7. The winner goes to the Big Ten championship game. Back at Camp Randall Stadium in Madison, where Wisconsin has won 15 straight. That is the 2nd longest active home winning streak in the country. LSU won its 17th in a row yesterday with their big win over Arkansas. Matt McGloin on 1st down for Penn State. Comes out throwing, and it's intercepted at the 50-yard line by the safety, Shelton Johnson. The junior from Carrollton, Texas, with his 3rd interception of the year.
Sheldon Johnson did nothing to hide himself. You're going to see him right here. Everybody sees him except for one guy. That's right there, McGloin. And that's just not well done.
No.
So erase the fast start that he wanted to have. He just punctuated it with a poor throw.
Looking for Derek Moy. But Johnson got in the way. James White, the running back now. Shared duty early on with Ball, but after Ball became a dominant force, White's become number 2. He gets 2. Here's Reese.
Sean, Alabama at Auburn, the Crimson Tide, finishing off an 81-yard drive. Auburn's loaded up to stop the run. Look at all those guys close by. Well, throwback special, Trent Richardson to A.J. McCarron to a wide-open Kenny Bell. 7-0 Crimson Tide.
In the Iron Bowl, huge game. National championship implications perhaps for Alabama. See how the BCS standings play out. Blowing the interception. Wisconsin trying to capitalize. White again through a big hole up the middle. First down to the 35 of Penn State. Nick Suke, the safety, made the tackle. 13-yard run for James White.
Well, the first thing you have to be able to do is just get all those defensive linemen inside blocked. And this is a nice job across the board. See Oglesby there, number 67, and they're good to the second level. Ewing, the fullback, the big, powerful kid. They got a good feel for him in that power game.
White and Ball have combined to rush for more than 2,000 yards this year. And Wilson's pass complete to Abradaris. Another first down at the 23-yard line. Stephon Morris made the stop for Penn State. 12 yards to Abradaris, who's off to a terrific start.
Sean, this is predominantly a zone team defense is Penn State. And if you don't get pressure out of your front four in a zone, a guy like Russell Wilson will eat you alive.
Wilson here for just 1 year. After 3 years as a starter at North Carolina State, where he was an all-ACC performer. He's had the best season as a quarterback in Wisconsin history. And another diving catch by Abradaris. Now, if it wasn't for Russell Wilson, Abradaris would probably be on scholarship right now. He's still a walk-on.
Amazing.
And that's because they needed a scholarship to give to Russell Wilson last summer. They wanted to give one to Abradaris, but Red Bielema said we need to get Russell Wilson if we can. They'll put Abradaris on scholarship in January.
Nice job at the top of his route to come back. And the ball's well thrown because he basically throws Abradaris open.
First and 10 from the 11. Monty Ball powers up the middle. If he could break one more tackle, it was a touchdown. But Hodges pulled him down at the 5. It'll be 2nd and 4 for a first down, 5 for a score.
Travis Frederick is the center. Kevin Zeitler, the right guard. Ryan Groy, the left guard. See number 79. The interior, those three, they are winning the battle inside against Devin Still and Jordan Hill. Arguably one of the better or the best defensive tackle combination in the Big Ten. Wisconsin's interior three are mauling them.
Without their usual starting center. Here's Ball. Looks like he has the first down near the 1-yard line. We'll see where they place it down. Peter Kahns suffered an ankle injury 2 weeks ago. A lot of people believe he's the best center in the country. So last week they lined up with Ryan Groy at center and Frederick at guard. But Groy struggled on some shotgun snaps in the third quarter to Illinois. They switched positions. And it's still Frederick at center now. Groy at left guard. They did not quite get the first down. 3rd and inches for a first down. 1 yard for a touchdown. Ball lunging. Touchdown.
John, Wisconsin is saying, listen, we play tough physical football, and we're going to do it. We're not going to hide it. We're just going to show you what we're going to do, and they're doing it. They are mauling that defensive front four. Monty Ball is a big reason. Good power.
adding to his Wisconsin and Big Ten record with his 31st total touchdown of the season. 26th rushing. They're reviewing the previous play to make sure he was in. And one of the best replay officials in the business, Jim Augustine, in the replay booth. You usually know when Jim's nearby that there aren't going to be too many debacles in the replay booth.
All they want to see is where's the ball when his knee touches.
And his knee is still
there.
Yeah. Looks like his knee's down, and the ball is just a little bit short of the end zone. And if that's the case, it would be a first down. He's comfortably inside the 1. It would be 1st and goal with inches to go. But it looks like the knee's down there, and that ball is not to the plane of the end zone. Perhaps about 6 inches short. Nick Suke made the tackle.
Sean, what I like about this Wisconsin offense is they don't even try to pretend. They just say, listen, we're just going to power right at you. They don't have a lot of formations. If you really break them down, they only have about 4, maybe 5 runs that they run. They just kind of dress it up by shifts and motions. But they just basically say, we're going to run power football right at you. You see there's Paul Chryst, their offensive coordinator.
What a great job he does. I mean, every year, it's the formula here. They get that big offensive line. They have runners who can run strong behind it.
And it's bigger than that, though. What it is the attitude they have.
After further review, the runner's knee was down before the ball break the plane to the goal line. As a result, it'll be first and goal, Wisconsin. 2 seconds will be on the game clock.
I think that's the right call, don't you?
Yeah, it's the right call.
So it'll be 1st and goal from inches shy of the goal line. And they don't have to run another play down here. I would think they would wind the clock once they reset the chains.
Well, you can see right here, there's the knee, and there's the ball.
Yeah.
That's a good call. See if Paul Chryst, their offensive coordinator, now would be the time. Well, they've been powering the whole time, but a nice little play action down here would be the way to go. Everybody jump on it, hit the tight end behind it. I'm just saying.
You just talked about that big offensive line and how powerful ball is, and now you want a play action pass. What's happened to you? I don't even know you anymore. Welcome back to ESPN College Football from Madison, Wisconsin. Penn State and Wisconsin tied at 7 as we continue Dr. Pepper's road to the championships. Wisconsin has been a tremendous red zone team. 86% of the time they get in the red zone, they score a touchdown. Best in the nation. Russell Wilson always saying to his teammates, touchdowns, not field goals. And they cross that 20-yard line. Ball, this time, no doubt. Touchdown, Wisconsin. And now he has his 31st touchdown of the season, adding to his Wisconsin and Big Ten record.
What I really like about this Wisconsin offense, said it before, I'll say it again. They don't pull any punches. They just say, we're running power right at you, and then they go do it.
Each team has benefited from a mistake by the other. In this instance, Wisconsin turns a Matt McGloin interception into 7 points. The extra point good by Phillip Welch. Wisconsin has had the ball for 11 minutes, 26 seconds, and lead 14-7. Wisconsin leads 14-7. Time for today's Aflac trivia question. Monty Ball now with 31 touchdowns this season. Mentioned that's the Wisconsin and Big Ten record. We want to know who holds the FBS record for most touchdowns scored in a single season.
I know this one, so I'm just going to give you the hint out there. It's not Ron Dane.
All right. Afraid you might give it away. He's now tied for 3rd most in a season, as you saw in the graphic, with Troy Edwards of Louisiana Tech with 31 in 1998. Very short kickoff, popped straight up in the air by Welch. Returned by Brian Irvin. He's one of their backup tight ends, and he brought it out near the 33-yard line. So here comes McGloin, whose interception was turned into the score that has made the difference in the game. Penn State benefited from a running into the punter penalty against Wisconsin. They'll run their 10th play of the game. Major time of possession advantage for Wisconsin. Ethan Armstrong, reserve linebacker, injured covering the kickoff. And as they tend to him, we'll check in the studio. Here's Reese.
Sean, time for SportsCenter right now, presented by Discover Card. The NBA owners and players have a tentative agreement to end the NBA lockout. It would bring about a 66-game season, which would start on Christmas Day. A few legal hurdles to overcome, but it appears it's on the way. A.J. McCarron's thrown 2 touchdown passes for Alabama, but he holds the ball way too long here. Has it knocked free. Kenneth Carter recovers for the Auburn touchdown. Alabama up 14-7.
Iris, thank you. Armstrong still down on the field for the Badgers. They're bringing a card out. He has been moving his arms and legs, which obviously is a good sign. He's been leaning forward a couple of times, grabbed his helmet, pulled his head forward. We'll step aside. Just underway, second quarter. Wisconsin leading by 7.
Reese Davis with you in the studio. Virginia and Virginia Tech. Winner goes to the ACC championship game. Cavaliers have been hot. The Hokies have been strong. Logan Thomas, 14-yard touchdown run. Hokies have a 7-0 lead early in the second quarter.
Iris, thank you. Frank Beamer telling his team they still have an outside shot at the BCS National Championship game. But obviously they need a lot of things to fall into place. As you see, they brought an ambulance out onto the field to tend to Ethan Armstrong, injured covering the kickoff. Backup linebacker, sophomore from Ottawa, Illinois. We've looked at a number of replays during the break, and as Reese was talking, you hate to speculate, but it looked like it might be a hip injury. The good news is they're not stabilizing his head or neck, so it doesn't seem to involve his spinal cord or anything involving possible paralysis, which is always the first thing you think of when you see them bringing the stretcher out there. They wondered about the crowd today too, Matt, with the bad weather, with the students out of school for the weekend for the Thanksgiving holiday, and deer hunting season, they tell me, is coming to an end in this part of the country, which is a big deal. But as you can see, Camp Randall filled to capacity, better than 80,000 on hand for this very big game between Wisconsin and Penn State. The winner will capture the Big Ten Leaders Division and meet Michigan State December 3rd in Indianapolis next Saturday for the inaugural Big Ten championship game title. Of course, the Big Ten went to division play this year. With the addition of Nebraska, got them to 12 teams. And Wisconsin makes no bones about it. The Badgers would like another shot at Michigan State. Wisconsin was right up there, not only thinking about a Big Ten title, but perhaps the national championship picture when they went to East Lansing and lost on that Hail Mary pass on the final play of the game. An excruciating loss that needed to be reviewed by replay till they determined that Kirk Cousins to Keith Nickel with a ricochet in between was the game-winning score. Then they lost in the last 30 seconds the following week against Ohio State. But Brett Bielema's teams, as you see, have had a history of finishing strong. And he's very proud of the way his team has rallied to get back into the position to play for a Big Ten championship, which was first and foremost their goal when the season began.
Offensively, they have all the ingredients. They have a good offensive line. They have a quarterback who can make plays with his feet and arm. With an excellent running game, the offensive line is solid. Defensively, they don't give up a lot of points.
After the long delay, Silas Red for Penn State. Now to the 37-yard line. A gain of 4. It'll be 2nd and 6. Mike Taylor tripped him up.
Sean, whenever you watch this Wisconsin defense, there are two guys that just jump off the tape, and you talked about him earlier. Mike Taylor, 53, and Chris Borland, 44. They're always around the football. Some guys have a knack for it. Both of them do. Borland in particular.
Both have battled through injuries, and Red's in trouble. Gets away and now has running room and a first down out to the 49-yard line. Late flag thrown. Aaron Henry made the tackle. If it stands, it's a 12-yard game, and it looked like it was going to be a significant loss as Louis Zegwu couldn't make the tackle behind the line of scrimmage.
Block in the back. Offense number 19. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Still 2nd down.
Well, it looked like bad news for Tom Bradley, then good news, and now some more bad news. Justin Brown guilty of the penalty.
Well, we talked about Silas Red and his ability. He has very good balance. He has good strength. All that stuff was on display. Unfortunately, so was Justin Brown's push in the back.
They bring the ball back to the 35. 2nd down and 8. Stephon Green now the running back out of the shotgun. McGloin, and whistles and flags stop the play. Illegal procedure against Penn State.
Ball start. Offense number 80. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down. After the play was over. Unsportsmanlike conduct number 11. Spiking the ball into the ground. Half the distance from the goal. Repeat 2nd down.
Wow, what a huge mistake by McGloin, who can get a little bit caught up in the emotion of it sometimes. The coaches talked yesterday. They need to calm him down, and somebody better calm him down again. His teammates moving away from the referee, John O'Neill.
They blew that play dead, and then he just threw the ball to the ground like he would. I'm kind of confused in this one.
Yeah, that's
nothing.
Yeah, I mean, the play's over. That's bad. I mean, that wasn't unsportsmanlike conduct. He's not supposed to do it, but it wasn't as if he spiked it in anger. Bill Belton in the Wildcat gets back to the 25. I mean, for a ticky-tack call in a game like this with everything at stake, wow. If you're the officials, you really better make sure that that player earned his unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yeah, Sean, usually when you see that, what a quarterback will do is he'll throw the ball on the ground just to make sure the play's dead.
And that everybody around him knows it, in part so they don't come tackle him.
That's one of the reasons they did. That's just a bad call by
really
the official.
Bad. Yep. 3rd down 19. And an offense that struggles, they can't afford much negative yardage. McGloin in a crowd throws incomplete. General direction of Derek Moy, but he was very well covered. And the Nittany Lions will punt. Tom Bradley, interim coach. They're 1-1 under Tom. 33 years on this coaching staff. Defensive coordinator since 2000. Players have raved about the great job that he has done under very difficult circumstances. Farah gets off a very good punt. Abradaris retreating back to the 20-yard line. And he's out of bounds at the 27. Chased out by Michael Zordich. 56-yard punt, 7-yard return. College football action continues tonight on ESPN and ABC. 2 games between ranked teams at 7:45 Eastern on ESPN. In-state rivals meet. Both of them ranked. Clemson heading to Columbia to take on 12th ranked South Carolina at 8 Eastern on ABC. Andrew Luck trying to keep his Heisman hopes alive, and Stanford's BCS hopes as well. The championship game, that is. 6th ranked Stanford hosting 22nd ranked Notre Dame. All tonight on ESPN and ABC. Brought to you by Hampton Hotels and Southwest Airlines, respectively. Monty Ball crossed the line of scrimmage, and that's it. Yanked down by Sean Stanley, the defensive end.
So if you just wanted to say right now what is controlling this game, to me it's the offensive line of this Wisconsin Badgers football team. They have just done a great job on that defensive front. of Penn State. And there's some guys like Devin's still right there, 71. You haven't heard a squeak out of him. They've handled him extremely well.
Wilson out of the shotgun. Russell throws short. Caught by Jeff Duckworth. He's wrestled down immediately, shy of the 35-yard line. The 11th catch of the year for Duckworth, taken down by Mike Hall and Danton Lynn. And as is always the case, Wisconsin has an enormous offensive line. Kevin Zeitler, the right guard, the little guy at 315.
And maybe their best player, and Frederick just a sophomore at 330 at the center. This is just not only a big group, it's an athletic group as well.
They hope to get Kahns, the center, back for the bowl game. Wilson's hit on his last 7 passes, handed it off to Monty Ball, delivers a stiff arm to Suke and gets the first down. Then he got rocked out of bounds at the 48-yard line by Drew Astorino. 14 yards, and they convert again.
We talked about his patience, and then we talked about his vision, and there's the lateral movement. Now watch the boom right there. That is just a thing of beauty. Right in the kisser for Suke, and down he goes. That's well done. That's outstanding running.
Coming off a career high 224 yards rushing last week in their come from behind win over Illinois, when he carried it 38 times. He is 60 yards rushing already. He gets a breather as James White's back in. He's across the 50 to the 49 of Penn State. Here's Tom Rinaldi.
Thanks, Sean. We all saw the frightening scene there with Ethan Armstrong. The preliminary indication, a hip injury, being taken obviously by ambulance off to a local hospital for x-rays. Preliminary is a hip injury for Ethan Armstrong, Sean.
Yeah, it was good to see him almost bounce up after a lengthy period of time on the field. 5 receivers spread the formation on 2nd and 8. Wilson throws and short hop Duckworth. It'll be another 3rd down. 3rd down and 8. They're 5 for 6 on 3rd downs today.
Well, Penn State's not a big man-to-man team. They stay in zone most of the time, and when they do blitz, they zone blitz, which means they have 3 under, usually 3 deep or 4 deep. And that time they came with another zone blitz. There's Larry Johnson, the defensive line coach, who's also the co-defensive coordinator.
With Ron Vanderlinden, the linebacker coach. Tom Bradley has handed off the defensive play calling duties to 2 of his assistants. Wilson in trouble and sacked. So Penn State holds for just the 2nd time on a 3rd down. Sean Stanley and Devin Still get to Wilson.
And they were able to get to him because it was good coverage down the field. And then when he had to redirect to try to get up the field, that's when Still came off that block inside. Good job of underneath coverage, nowhere to go with the ball. Still gets there.
Brad Nortman to punt. Larry Johnson talked last night about the importance of his defensive linemen being disciplined in their rush lanes, and they did it well that time. Nortman's punt. Caught by Justin Brown. He has some running room. Brown across midfield to the 48 of Wisconsin.
Nice
Connor
return.
O'Neill made the tackle.
Yeah, real nice return, Sean. Good patience he shows in his return.
33-yard return, matching the longest of the season for the junior from Wilmington, Delaware, Justin Brown.
ESPN's College Football, brought to you by Kia Motors and the new 2012 Kia Optima. It's not your average midsize sedan.
Sean McDonough, Matt Millen, Tom Rinaldi back in Madison, Wisconsin. Badgers leading Penn State 14-7. The winner goes to the Big Ten championship game to play Michigan State. Bill Belton, the Wildcat quarterback, in. His pass is incomplete. Intended for Kevin Hapley. And tight coverage by Shelton Johnson, who already has an interception in this game. It's the first pass they've attempted now in the 2 weeks they've run the Wildcat. wasn't a catchable pass, but he tackled him with the ball still in the air.
Yeah, but Hapley he's got to know that's a nice throw. He's throwing it away. He's got to bend back into that ball.
Silas Red on 2nd and 10. 2 yards driven back. Here's Reese Davis.
Sean, keep an eye on Virginia and Virginia Tech. Winner goes to the ACC championship game. Logan Thomas has already run for a touchdown. Look at the big fella. Perfectly thrown to Jarrett Boykin. 14-0. Hokies going for their 11th win and a rematch with Clemson if they can hang on.
Reese, thank you. Penn State and Wisconsin haven't met since 2008. 48-7 Penn State win here. 3rd down and 8 for Matt McGloin. Gets the throw off. Caught. Moy can't do the necessary running after the catch. Peniel Jean, backup defensive back, made a nice tackle in space. They'll mark it at the 42. 4th down and 4.
Wisconsin does a nice job of getting Penn State in 3rd and long. And then once you have him in that position, all he ever does is look. It appears that he looks for Moy a majority of the time.
Where's Farah? Handles all of the kicking, kickoffs, punts, extra point field goal. He's done a nice job with those roles. 3 times the Big Ten Special Teams Player of the Week this year. Right on cue, kind of shanked one sideways, trying for the coffin corner. And they're going to mark it at the 17-yard line. 25-yard punt. Let's answer the Aflac trivia question. Nice day for the Duck here as the rain continues to fall. Who holds the FBS record for the most touchdowns scored in a single season?
My favorite runner of all time, Barry Sanders.
39 touchdowns. You talk about records that might not be broken.
You know,
in one season, 1988. And the only one in between is Brock Forsey of Boise State with 32 in 2002. So Ball could tie him for 2nd most in a single season with 1 more touchdown. But when you have a record and it's 7 touchdowns more than anybody else, that's going to be a hard one to break ever.
Well, Barry Sanders, I remember watching him when he came out in '88, and I was still playing at the time, and I watched. I was like, there's no way that guy could do that at the next level. And then his very first game, he did the exact same thing. I remember watching tape, calling guys in the tape room and saying, "You're not going to believe what you see."
And he dazzled many of us for a long time. Russell Wilson throwing to his left. So you were talking about at the top of the telecast, Matt. He's so good rolling to his left, right on target there to Abradaris for a 12-yard gain and a 1st down for Wisconsin.
Now, if you watch Russell Wilson mechanically, at times he is absolutely flawless. Look how he gets his shoulders around, kicks his hips through, but then the ball is accurate right where it's supposed to be. This kid he's really good.
Of course, the 2 sport athletes played minor league baseball for several seasons. But he told us yesterday he'd like to be a quarterback in the NFL. He got away from the rush of Dan Lynn, got the throw off, and it's a 1st down. Brady Ewing, the fullback, for an 11-yard gain. He came with a corner blitz. Lynn had a shot at Russell Wilson and couldn't get him down.
Well, you can see right there, his mechanics are impeccable. He makes outstanding decisions, but he does suffer a little bit from Drew Brees-itis. And what I mean by that is when Drew Brees was coming out, everybody said, he's too small. He's not going to be able to see. He's not going to make the same throws. They're going to bat his balls down. No, doesn't happen.
So that's a good thing. Drew Brees-itis is a good thing.
No question. The inflammation of your Drew Brees.
He's clearly under 6 feet tall. We visited with Russell yesterday. They list him about 5'11", but he doesn't get throws batted down. His pass is caught by Jacob Pedersen, the tight end, and he's playing behind an enormous offensive line, which would make it a little bit more difficult than some other lines to see over. That hasn't caused him a problem.
Paul Chryst does a nice job of keeping him in and out of the pocket. He keeps you defensively off guard. But the thing that you can't, there's no substitute for is his accuracy. He makes great decisions, and he's accurate with the football. That makes play calling a lot easier.
He's already set the single season Wisconsin record for touchdown passes with another one today. He is 27. He's now 10 for his last 12 as Duckworth couldn't handle that throw behind him. It'll be 3rd and 7 after an update from Reese Davis.
All right, Sean, Alabama and Auburn again. The Crimson Tide, despite that offensive turnover that turned into a touchdown. A.J. McCarron's thrown his 3rd touchdown pass. Trent Richardson goes in. 21-7 Crimson Tide in the 2nd quarter.
And trying to make a statement there. The bigger they can win, the better. Try to shore up their rankings with an eye toward the final BCS standings. I hope that they would play in the national championship game. Wilson's been great all year on 3rd down. Pulls it down and runs. It has a 1st down and much more. Out of bounds at the 36-yard line of Penn State. 20-yard run for Russell Wilson.
A lot of times when you say the quarterback is a good decision maker, you associate it, of course, with throwing the football. But it's not limited to that with Russell Wilson, because once he sees a lane and he sees coverage that is dropped off, he takes advantage of it. Excellent decision, uses his feet, big 1st down.
They're 6 out of 8 on 3rd down. And certainly Russell Wilson has all the intangibles you'd want from a quarterback. Very bright, great team leader. Monty Ball ahead for 2 yards. And he was only here for a very short period over the time in the summer, Matt, when they made him one of their 4 team captains, which the players, his teammates, his brand new teammates back then, decided on.
Well, Sean, you and I had a chance to sit down and talk with him yesterday, and you could see right away why that would happen. I mean, he's got a great personality. He's very forceful in terms of his the words he chooses to speak. He's just right on. He's one of those kids that you look at and you go, you know what? I get it, and because I know you get it. Yeah, he's fun.
His family here today. In the scarf there is his brother Harry. 2nd and 9 on the delay. Ball. Nice tackle. And they throw a flag. Might be for a horse collar on Hodges. Yep, that's going to be the call. They pulled him down.
Personal foul. Horse collar tackle on the defense. 15 yards. Automatic 1st down.
Well, the horse collar tackle comes because of this great lateral cut right there. See it? And then he just reaches up and they got him. Yeah, that's a classic case. Roy Williams from the Dallas Cowboys out of the University of Oklahoma is the one who started that. And what he would do is he'd grab and then fall in the back of the knees. He got a lot of knees hurt.
Yeah, you can.
That's when they put that penalty in.
Easily get hurt when you get tackled that way. False start against Wisconsin.
Offense number 79. 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
Ryan Groy, the left guard.
That might be the first mistake that the Wisconsin offense has done all day.
They're running their 40th play from scrimmage. Penn State's run 16. After the fake, Wilson has a lot of time. Good coverage by Penn State. He's running out of time. Gets away again. Still on his feet. 1st down at the 5-yard line.
Johnny had to pull it down because there was coverage down the field. Good coverage in the secondary of Penn State. Chaz Powell right on top of Aberderis. Underneath, nowhere to go. And so he keeps looking. And then he uses his feet to buy the time. And then once he pulls it down, he makes the decision it's time to go.
Yeah, Jack Crawford needs to make that tackle for Penn State. He did not. 19-yard run. Had a 20-yard run moments ago on 3rd down and 7. And a timeout called by Wisconsin with 1st and goal from the 5 to come. 2:53 remaining in the 1st half here in Madison. Get ready for bowl season with the ESPN Bowl Bound app featuring video news, analysis, the latest BCS standings, and weekly projections. It's ESPN's Bowl Bound app, free on iPhone and Android. Text BOWL 43776 to download. I downloaded that Watch ESPN app. It's the greatest thing ever.
Is it?
It is the greatest thing in the history of mankind. First and goal, Wisconsin. Penn State showing blitz. They bring it. Here's Ball. Takes 3 to wrestle him down. Suke and Carson. With Kyrie Fort, number 11, also in there. It'll be second and goal for the Badgers. They're going to give them forward progress down near the 2-yard line.
They're just too physical for this Penn State front. Penn State defensively had to be able to match their physicality with their own physicality. They haven't been able to do it. You mentioned, Sean, they walked up that time. They showed an 8-man front. They covered every gap, and that offensive line of Wisconsin just moved the line of scrimmage backward.
Still got a 3-yard gain. Ball again. Off right tackle. Touchdown. Second of the game for Ball. 32nd of the season. Second highest touchdown total in a season in the history of major college football.
And look how this scrum is moving that way. Because they get the push, and Monty Ball has the patience and the wherewithal with his feet to be able to pick and choose. It's not even a contest.
Philip Welch for the extra point. 83-yard drive. 5 minutes and 41 seconds. 21-7, Wisconsin. And only Barry Sanders with 39 touchdowns in 1988 has scored more touchdowns in a season. The highest level of college football than Monty Ball's 32 this year. Junior from Wentzville, Missouri. Grateful to that offensive line for the great work that they do powering him into the end zone.
Not only that big offensive line, but also Brady Ewing, his fullback behind him.
Brett Bielema was telling us yesterday the NFL people love Ewing. Another high kickoff down to Michael Zordich. The ball's out, and the Badgers have it. Connor O'Neill recovers at the 31-yard line.
They kick that thing straight up so you don't have your best returners handling it, and then it's about ball security. And that ball is out. Not only did he recover it, but he also got his helmet right on it. Connor O'Neill comes up with a great play. Not a good one, a great one. Knocks it out and then gets the recovery.
Sophomore from Delray Beach, Florida. 2 minutes to go in the half. Wisconsin. Chance to add to this 14-point lead. Ball was pulled down by Nate Stupar. Penn State doing a lot of the things you can't afford to do in a game of this magnitude against a team like Wisconsin.
Well, a few things that they said they had to do. Have a fast start. That was doused with that first interception. And then they had to match them physically up front. That hasn't happened all day.
They've had a chance to sack Wilson, let him get away. Those turned into big plays. They come after again. He rolls right. He's going to run again. Out of bounds. 23-yard line, 2 yards short of a first down. Here's Reese Davis.
All right, Sean, coming up on the Bud Light halftime report, Alabama and Auburn in the Iron Bowl. Crimson Tide in control now. Does that send them to New Orleans? We'll see what Mark and Lou think. A classic between Michigan and Ohio State. Also give you the latest on the NBA labor agreement as it stands at the moment.
That was some good news to wake up to this morning. Tentative agreement reached in the NBA labor dispute. Third down and 3, Wisconsin. Another Penn State blitz. And Wilson on target. First down to the 19-yard line. And Nick Toon tackled by Drew Astorino.
I just think, you know, this is the first time that we've watched him live. We've seen him on tape, but Russell Wilson does so many things well.
The question I would have is, why is he kind of drifted off the Heisman radar? There's no clear-cut choice right now. He's thrown 27 touchdown passes this year, 3 interceptions. Might set the season record for pass efficiency. He's a dual threat. Running out of time this time, and then wisely throws it away.
Yeah, on top of all that, he's really smart too. Has good control, great awareness of the game. And Sean, the only thing I would say is the 2 losses. The 2 losses would have to be the one thing that kind of doused him a little bit. But
a lot of the other guys who are up there have losses. Trent Richardson has a loss. Robert Griffin III has losses. Andrew Luck has suffered defeat this season. He has a big game tonight against Notre Dame, Andrew Luck, to try to reestablish himself. But I don't know why there isn't more hype right now about Russell Wilson back in the Heisman picture. Should he be penalized because they have a great running game, so his yards per game passing stats aren't that impressive? Shovels to ball. You know, a lot of these quarterbacks who are putting up huge numbers throwing around the country don't have the running game that he has with Monty Ball. 15-yard pass to Ball. 1st and goal from just inside the 5. And Wisconsin will use a timeout here. Of course, our colleague Joe Tessitore each week polls all of us who have a Heisman vote at ESPN. Heismanology. The leader heading into this weekend was Trent Richardson, Andrew Luck second. I mean, all of them are having great seasons of the 5 you see on the list. And Case Keenum might move up after what he did yesterday in a big win for Houston against Tulsa. But what has happened to Russell Wilson?
yeah, I mean, I don't know who you take off that list. All I know, unless you add one to the list. But you know, sometimes when I look at those lists, I think to myself, okay, what would happen if you took one of those people and put them in this offense? What would their numbers look like? Or what would happen if you took this guy and put him in another spot, and how would their teams respond to them? And that's the kind of mental gymnastics sometimes that you play at times. But any way you look at it, this guy performs well in every system. He can do it with his feet. He can do it with his arm. He is an impressive player.
Yeah, I don't think he should get penalized because they're the 10th best rushing team in the country. 1st and goal after the timeout. A pump fake and a touchdown to Nick Toon. So the fumble on the kickoff hurts Penn State. And it'll be a 21-point lead if Welch kicks the extra point.
Watch the pump, and then he knows exactly where he's going. Right back to Toon on that backside. Toon got the leverage on Danton Lynn. He moved the safety with the pump with his eyes also. It's an impressive player.
17th career touchdown reception for Nick Toon. And that's a good omen for Wisconsin. They're 12-0 all time when he catches a touchdown pass. And there's another record for Russell Wilson, 36 straight games with at least 1 touchdown pass, tying the record held by Graham Harrell, formerly of Texas Tech.
Not a bad day for Russell Wilson. You can see he's done it all. He does it with accuracy. He'll do it with accuracy to the slot as well. He can do it with his feet to get himself out of trouble and then come out throwing. And then he gets himself out of trouble with big runs again with his feet. Great sense of the game. Real smart player. Great decision maker. You and I have said it, Sean. I don't see the flaws in this kid.
Nor do I. They've run 48 plays from scrimmage. 32 of them in Penn State territory. The mistakes by the Nittany Lions have really hurt. McGloin's interception turned into a touchdown. The fumble on the kickoff return a moment ago turned into a touchdown. Kyle French kicked off that time and squibbed it. Chaz Powell brought it to the 34. Well, Russell Wilson's favorite quarterback is Drew Brees. And this week on Monday Night Football on ESPN, you'll see Eli Manning and the Giants trying to stay alive in the NFC race as they head to New Orleans to take on Drew Brees and the South-leading Saints. Giants Saints. ESPN Monday Night Football at 8:30 Eastern. Coverage begins at 7 with Monday Night Countdown served by Applebee's. How about the Giants trying to stay alive? They're right there on the heels of the Dallas Cowboys, but the Giants have a very tough schedule left. McGloin threw it away.
One thing about that New York Giant football team, defensively, they've struggled. They play in a lot of young linebackers. Mark Herzlich, Boston College linebacker, and sometimes what happens with young backers, they really bite on that play action. I would expect to see a lot of that against with New Orleans, especially with Breeze. Breeze is great with play action, as is Russell Wilson.
They set up a screen, and it's dropped by Silas Redd. What a dreadful first half for Penn State.
As good as it has been for Wisconsin offensively is as bad as it has been for Penn State. Everything that Wisconsin has done has gone right for them. And Penn State, it's just the opposite.
Started well. They led 7-0, and they threw a long touchdown pass when Wisconsin had a busted coverage in the secondary. But 28 unanswered points in total domination since by Wisconsin. McGloin will go out of the gun on 3rd down and 10. They rush forward, and it's a short pass. Red's going to come up short of the first down. Will Penn State use a timeout, or will they let the half end? Well, it's going to be 4th down. You could throw a Hail Mary here if you wanted to. They won't bother. Here's Tom Rinaldi.
Thanks, Sean. Scrapped down by 3 touchdowns here. What's the first thing you have to do to climb back in?
You got to turn the ball over. Got to get a couple scoring drives, string them together, and get back in this thing.
Your defense already on the field for more than 20 minutes in the first half. How do you contain Russell Wilson?
He's tough to contain. We're going to talk about a couple things here at halftime and see if we can get a little plan together in the second half.
Thanks a lot, Tom. Appreciate it.
At the half, Wisconsin with 278 yards of offense, leading Penn State 28-7. Now Reese Davis, Mark May, Lou Holtz in the studio. The Bud Light halftime report.
ESPN, the BCS lives here.
Well, about the only thing Wisconsin hasn't executed well to this point is to run onto the field for the second half. Brett Bielema, follow me, men. Let's go. Where's my team? Here they come. Ready for the second half. They dominated the first half, leading 28-7. Major advantage in every statistical category. Penn State scored first on a 44-yard touchdown pass less than 7 minutes into the game, but did not have a first down thereafter. And it's already the most points that Penn State has allowed in a game this year. They gave up 27 in their loss to Alabama. Very little went right for Penn State after that first 7 or 8 minutes or so.
And you know, Sean, it's not necessarily that the points happened, it's how the points were given up. I mean, they have been dominated against the strength. This game, we said at the top, this is a strength versus strength, weakness versus weakness type of game. And the strength of Wisconsin is way stronger than the strength of Penn State, and they need to straighten that thing out in the second half.
Tom Bradley's team will get the ball first here to begin the second half, and they need a scoring drive. Philip Welch, good kickoff. Adrian Amos, true freshman, took it out of the end zone. Took a pretty good pop and still stayed on his feet. Got 4 more yards out to the 29. Tackled by Connor O'Neill. Here's a look at the game track brought to you by Bud Light. Terrific half for Russell Wilson, both with his arm and with his feet. And Monty Ball had his typical half, 68 yards rushing, and added to his Big Ten and school record with 2 touchdowns. 32 for the year now. Matt McGloin comes out throwing on target. Davon Smith got collared by Marcus Cromartie, the cornerback. Out of bounds at the 36-yard line. That's a gain of 7.
You know, we said at the start also, Sean, that it would be favorable for Penn State to be able to throw on early downs to stay out of 3rd and long situations. And they were able to do that. Here they're going to go to the Wildcat right now.
With Bill Belton in there, true freshman. He handed it off to Silas Redd, and he has a first down.
Silas Redd has been the one plus for them in the first half. Not only had 6 carries, but he's proven that he can carry the load. He's an efficient, effective back. Catches the ball out of the backfield well. We just haven't gotten to him enough.
They have time to stick with the running game with a full half to go. And they stick with Red. He fumbles the football. And the Badgers have it. Third turnover by Penn State. The first 2 were turned into touchdowns by Wisconsin. Mike Taylor recovered the fumble.
In the first half, we mentioned there are 2 guys who are always around the football. Borland, 44, look right there. He turns it back inside, and a great job of taking on Troutman, 74. He drills him to the point where Troutman is the guy who knocks the ball out. So credit Borland. Great play. Ooh, I like that.
That's when you know you're not having a good day if you're Penn State. When you have a fumble caused by a collision between 2 of your own players.
On the other hand, you know you're having a great day when you're Borland and you drill the guy.
Or will they capitalize again? Play action pass. Again, the ability to throw going to his left. Russell Wilson on target to Jeff Duckworth. First down to the 36-yard line, a gain of 11.
Speaking with Paul Chryst, the offensive coordinator yesterday, we mentioned this about him being able to go to both sides, and he said it's such a pleasure to be able to use the whole field all the time. And he shows you consistently that he can do that.
There are a lot of play callers who wouldn't call plays like that with regularity because their quarterback isn't capable of throwing going to the left, as Russell Wilson can. Movement and a flag, but no whistles, and Wilson runs out of bounds.
Because it's on the defense.
Yeah, Devin Still was offside, at least in the neutral zone.
Offside, defense, number 71. 5-yard penalty.
Of course, Russell Wilson's afraid to throw the ball down in fear that it might be.
Yeah. That's bad.
Devin Still has not played well here today. That's one way of looking at it. On the flip side, this offensive line for the Wisconsin Badgers have played extremely well. When he gets a one-on-one, he's got to win that, and he's not done that so far.
Play action pass. Wilson, plenty of time. Wide open. Abradaris down to the 8-yard line. Tackled by Drew Astorino. 21-yard gain.
Did I mention that the offensive line of Wisconsin was dominating today? All kinds of time to throw. Nice throwing lane. Abradaris will just maul you when you're playing zones back there.
7 catches for Abradaris. Seems to be on his way to his 3rd 100-yard receiving game of the season. 93 yards receiving. And balls into the end zone. That was too easy.
Did you see that lateral cut, Sean? That was a thing of beauty. Full speed, and then plants that left foot and goes as fast laterally as he does vertically. Watch this. Right here, stick your foot in, boom. That is nice. That is really well done.
There's Drew Astorino's usually a very good tackler who whiffed as a result of that lateral ability of Monty Ball. Welch to add the extra point. And Penn State in dire need of a great start to the half. Turns it over. And that's 21 points off of 3 Penn State turnovers scored by Wisconsin. Ball might catch Barry Sanders on that all-time touchdown list today.
You just never know.
The way he's going. Needs 6 more. Three touchdowns today for Monty Ball. He scored at least 2 in every game this season. Averages a touchdown every 8 times he touches the ball. We said Barry Sanders' record of 39 touchdowns in the season might be one that was never broken. Well, he has the Big Ten championship game next, barring a turnaround of this game dramatically, and a bowl game left. He's scoring 2 or 3 in every game. There's Chaz Powell bringing back the Philip Welch kickoff. weaving his way through the traffic. And a nice run back near the 35-yard line. Chased out by Antonio Fanelas. For today's Big Ten Conference Update, brought to you by Dr. Pepper 10. Let's take a look at the Big Ten standings. Michigan State already has captured the Legends Division. And Mark D'Antonio's team will get the winner of this one next Saturday night in Indianapolis in the inaugural Big Ten Conference Championship game. Very likely to be Wisconsin with a 28-point lead right now. Here's Silas Redd, whose fumble a moment ago led to a touchdown for Wisconsin. He goes for 12 and a first down, tackled by Aaron Henry, senior, playing in his final home game for Wisconsin.
Well, you're taking a good look at Chris Borland right there, and that's 100% football player, in my opinion. That kid, he was born to play this game.
Bill Belton back in. The Wildcat handed it off to Redd. That's about 10 more. Matt's friend Borland made the tackle.
This kid has great instincts, Sean. He's always around the football. He uses his eyes well. As you saw in the last play, he can drill blockers. He gets off blockers. He's always active. He's better than I thought he was going to be in the play action game in terms of getting depth. This kid's a really good player.
Missed almost all of last season after shoulder surgery, an injury suffered early last year in September against Arizona State. Stephon Green gets the call and got a yard.
Not a real tall kid. He's 245 pounds, however, and he's got really good movement. Good laterally. He can clock, he'll clock a good 40 time for you. But more than that, he just has a sense, good football intelligence.
2nd and 9. Matt McGloin with Stephon Green behind him, looking to throw a play action pass, and he threw it over the head of his receiver. Allen Robinson would look to be breaking open. Well, one thing that is clearly different between these two teams, Wisconsin has a star at quarterback, and Penn State's quarterback situation isn't as good as you'd like it to be, at least not right now. McGloin, a former walk-on. Perhaps he'll get better, but they need better quarterback play, more consistent quarterback play if they're really going to contend at the national level.
You hit it right on the head. The inconsistency of the last few years is just, can't win like that.
He threw a critical interception early in the game that helped turn the tide. McGloin throws, good catch, good throw as well. Davon Smith wrestled down by Marcus Cromartie. First down, Penn State, 28-yard line, 13-yard pickup.
And this is what you'd like to see consistently. And that is, you don't get any better than that. Ball snapped, he knows he has Davon Smith outside. He gained leverage because of the inside move.
Back to the ground with Stephon Green. Looked like he might be out of the program. Was in Joe Paterno's doghouse back in the spring. Poor grades, had problems away from the field and classroom. And it was his teammates who went to Joe Paterno's house and implored him to keep Green in the program. And he's been an important player the last couple of weeks with the injury to Redd. Most of his carries have been in the last 2 games. He got wrestled down there by Tyler Dipple, number 51, backup defensive end, and Ethan Hemer.
Sean, 2 things in this Penn State offense. Penn State has to get better. They've got to get better in their offensive line. This is not a real powerful offensive line. They've got to get better there, and they have to get more consistent out of their quarterback spot.
3rd down and 8 from the 25-yard line. McGloin straight back, 4-man rush. Throws over the middle, and it is almost intercepted. Silas Redd had it hit him right in the hands and couldn't catch it. And then Kevin Claxton almost had it on the ricochet. That's a ball that needs to be caught. A rough start to this half for Redd.
And that should have been caught. And that is not on McGloin. That's a nicely thrown ball by McGloin back inside. Just hit him. He let it get into his chest, and then once it hits the armor, it's up in the air, and it's anybody's ball.
4th down, they have to go for it. Down by 4 touchdowns. 4th and 8. Empty backfield, 3 receivers bunched to the left. Then Green shifted behind McGloin. His throw short of a first down. Moy made the catch, but it was a good 1.5 yards or 2 shy of the marker. And Jean drove him back, and Penn State turns it over on downs with 10 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Yeah, that's on the receiver. You got to know where those sticks are. You can't come up short on that thing.
Well, they moved the ball. The drop pass by Red was a killer. And then the lack of attention to detail there.
ESPN's College Football, brought to you by Audi, Truth in Engineering, and Prudential. Prudential, bring your challenges.
Back in Madison, Wisconsin, where the Badgers have won 15 straight at Camp Randall Stadium, and on their way, it seems, to making it 16 in a row. 6-0 here this year, and they've won by an average of 41 points per game. Do it against the Penn State team that have been perfect on the road this year, 4-0, 14-4 in their last 18 regular season road games. They've traveled well, but not today. Into the bag of tricks go the Badgers. Aberderis did not fool the Penn State defense. Chased out of bounds by Chaz Powell. We were talking about Monty Ball, that touchdown record by Barry Sanders, 39 total touchdowns Sanders scored in 1988. Back then, they didn't count the bowl game in the stats. He scored 5 touchdowns in the bowl game for Oklahoma State. In the Holiday Bowl, he would have had 44 touchdowns that year had they counted it. It was against the Wyoming Cowboys. There's James White around the corner. He got 7. Danton Lynn chopped him down.
Nicely done by Jake Byrne, the tight end. Anytime you can get outside, I mean, somebody secured the edge for you. Jake Byrne, number 82, the guy right there. Good power guy. And he fits the profile that they like here in Wisconsin. They got a young one here in Peterson that they like a lot in terms of getting down the field.
Yeah, he was one of the 8 semifinalists for the Mackey Award, just a sophomore. They've had terrific tight ends here in recent years. Played a lot of 2 tight end sets in previous years, not as many this year. They don't think the talent level is quite as high as the tight ends behind Pedersen. Ball carries for a first down. Suke made the tackle. Pedersen was a wing T quarterback in high school, the latest in a line of outstanding tight ends. They have 4 of them playing in the National Football League right now, including Travis Beckham with the Giants. You'll see him on ESPN Monday Night Football against the Saints.
Coach Bielema thought he might be the most complete tight end that he's ever had. Yes, Pedersen.
Wilson chased out by Drew Astorino.
And I know this,
the
Sean.
end of his career.
Yeah, I know this. That is the most complete quarterback he's ever had. Guaranteed.
It's 1 year. But
Yeah.
he's going to have the best year ever for a Wisconsin quarterback. I mean, he's already broken the single season touchdown pass record with ease. We mentioned he is on pace to set the single season pass efficiency record in NCAA history. He's on a pace to have the record for yards per play for a season in college football history, 2nd in the country in percentage. That would also be the Wisconsin single season record. Provided great leadership. We've seen his running ability today. He managed to throw that away just before he went out of bounds in the general direction of Pedersen. It'll be 3rd down and 9 midway through the 3rd quarter. They don't turn it over. No turnovers today. Only 7 all season long. 2nd fewest in the country. And that's also been a part of the formula year in and year out here at Wisconsin under Barry Alvarez and continuing into the Brett Bielema era. And 8 out of 10 on 3rd down today. 5-man rush. They hit Wilson. Finally, they got there with the blitz. Nate Stupar put Wilson down on the field turf. And Wisconsin will punt.
And that time they did go man-to-man outside, and they brought 6. And Nate Stupar becomes untouched. They took a chance out back with their coverage, and it paid off for him.
Brad Nortman to punt. His third punt. He was a big part of their win last week. Averaged over 48 yards per punt. Their come from behind win over Illinois. This is a bomb. Wow is right, and then it's muffed. And Justin Brown got it back. 12-yard line. Flags on the play. 54-yard punt. His career long is 74. He's had 6 punts of over 50 yards this year. He's been a standout, one of those 21 seniors playing in his final home game. The punter, Brad Nortman.
During the kick, holding for 12 and return team. Foul being forced from the end of the kick. First down.
Stephon Morris guilty of the penalty. Sarcastic smile from Tom Bradley. He's had little to smile about today. Get ready for bowl season, which is right around the corner with the ESPN Bowl Bound app, featuring video news, analysis, latest BCS standings and weekly projections. It's ESPN's Bowl Bound app, free on iPhone and Android. Text BOWL to 43776 to download. Wisconsin hoping it's heading back to the Rose Bowl. Last year, their first Big Ten title since 1999, but a disappointing loss to TCU. They want to go back to the Rose Bowl and win it. Here's Stephon Green for Penn State, breaking tackles into the secondary, and he may go. There is a flag down. And he's down at the 5-yard line, chased down by Antonio Finellis.
What a great play by Finellis.
But is it coming back? The referee, John O'Neill, is way back at the 30-yard line. He didn't throw the flag, so he's conferring with the official who did, who's doing a couple of sprints down to cover the play and now back. They're coming back. And that's the way it's gone for Tom
Personal
Bradley.
Foul. Chop block. Number 10, offense. Half the distance from the spot of the foul. Repeat, first down.
89-yard run, wiped out. Would have been the longest play of the season from scrimmage for Penn State.
That's Haplia, number 10. He's right up here. Actually, they shouldn't have called it on him. They should have called it on the guy in motion. That's Joe Suey, number 37.
Half the distance. They bring it back to the 3-yard line. Red to the 7, tackled by Mike Taylor.
Sean, that was a 89-yard run, and lost in all that was Finellis didn't make a good play. That was a phenomenal play. He held it off, he never quit on it, and then he ran it down on the backside. And so what happens? The runner, he goes to the sideline. Finellis, he stays in for the next play. That was an outstanding play, Finellis. Hope he heard me.
I don't think he did. He'll hear you when he watches the tape. Red a yard, and then he got banged down by Chris Borland. Well, it's been a very successful senior class, including Finellis. 4-year record of the Badger seniors is 37-13. The all-time record for one class is 40 wins at Wisconsin, the 2007 senior class. But a win today would get them to 38. But still have the Big Ten championship in a bowl game to tie the all-time record for wins by a class. McGloin going deep. And again, Finellis had good coverage, this time on Davon Smith.
You're not going to beat Finellis over the top. That's one of the really good corners in the Big Ten. It's one of the really good corners in the NCAA. He's pretty complete. Plays zones well. He reads things well. Can lock him up man-to-man. You can ask him to blitz. He does that well. Good tackler. Not a lot of those guys.
There's Farah. Will punt out of his own end zone. Jared Abbrederis, leading punt returner in the nation, standing at the 50-yard line. He's had one punt blocked this year. They don't come after him. And this is a good one. Abrederis had to back up 12 yards to catch it at the 38. Now you wonder how much different this season might have been for Wisconsin. 2 losses this season, back-to-back games, last-minute heartbreakers at Michigan State and Ohio State.
One play left here in regulation. Throws deep right side, caught short of the goal line. This is going to be reviewed.
The runner did cross the line.
35 seconds left. Miller throws it up deep right side. Touchdown, Ohio State. Second straight week. The Badgers take a heartbreaking loss.
And in Columbus, they had just rallied to take the lead. Here's Ball off to the races again. And down to the 34. Now, Brett Bielema told us yesterday, I never heard one of our players all year long talk about national championship. But you think about how close they are to being undefeated. The Hail Mary when it looked like they were going to overtime at Michigan State. And then Ohio State, an offensively challenged team throughout most of the season, goes down the field and scores with 20 seconds to go.
And I don't know if Brett Bielema gets enough credit for the job that he's done here, both in the recruiting side and the fundamental side, because his teams are fundamentally sound across the board.
Ball ripping through the defense. Down to the 18-yard line. Nate Stupar made the tackle. 16-yard run for Ball.
Well, they have been handling Devin Still all game long. That's really well done. That's Wagner there, 58, who's able to get him. Devin Still has had himself a good season, but today it has not been his day. They've been handling not only him, but that entire defensive front all game long.
110 yards rushing now for Monty Ball. 100 plus for the 4th game in a row. And for the 8th time in 12 games this year. Here he comes again, and it's his 4th touchdown. It's either a very tired Penn State defense or the fight's gone out of the Nittany Lions here a little bit, or both. They've made it look very easy now.
An offensive line you can't say enough about. And Monty Ball as well. They're just mauling him, Sean. I mean, at this point, if I were Dandy Don, I'd be singing already.
Oh, please no. We've heard you sing. Actually, you were singing some hymns, I think, earlier today.
Get ready for that Christmas cantata. Thank you very much.
Philip Welch, the extra point. Ball with 3 carries of 11, 16, and 18 on a 45-yard 3-play drive. He did all the work.
He got some help from his friends, too.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Ewing on Suke. Everybody who's supposed to be blocked is blocked. And then you just get the nice runner's patience. He's in the end zone, and then your coach puts his finger up.
They don't have the stud defensive tackle, offensive tackle like we've seen in recent years. Gabe Karimi last year, Joe Thomas a few years ago. But they're still solid all the way
J.J.
across.
Watt from a year ago also. They are on both sides, Sean. Right. And the thing that really separates them when you watch them, and this comes down to good coaching, it's fundamentals. They are fundamentally sound. This, the offensive line coach here is really, really good. Drawing a blank on
Bob Bostad.
Bostad, yeah. I talked to him yesterday. He does a really good job.
You made more of an impression on him than he did on you, apparently.
I knew his name. It just had a little mental lapse
moment.
there.
It's okay. It happens to all of us. Welch kicks off. Short one this time. He might be getting leg weary. Chaz Powell. Reminiscent of one of his earlier returns. Weave to the right sideline. And went out of bounds at the 45. Nifty run back. Here's Reese Davis.
Sean, SportsCenter right now presented by Discover Cards. You probably heard throughout the day the NBA owners and players have reached a tentative agreement to end the lockout. It would mean a 66-game season, which would start on Christmas Day. Alabama and Auburn there in the third quarter. Second half kickoff, Ontario McCaleb ran it back for a touchdown. It's 27-14 Alabama. Get these numbers. Auburn has 2 first downs the whole game, 40 yards of offense, but they have a defensive touchdown, special teams touchdown. It's 27-14.
All right, Reese, thank you. 1st and 10 here. Matt McGloin couldn't find a receiver. He goes out of bounds. The Wisconsin sideline turned it into a gain of a couple to the 47. Run out by Brendan Kelly. Took over as a starter when David Gilbert is a fine defensive end. Got injured earlier in the year. There's Kelly, junior from Eden Prairie, Minnesota.
Good wrestling up there, Eden Prairie, and apparently good football as well.
3.5 to go, 3rd quarter. Wisconsin on its way to winning the leaders division of the Big Ten. Wildcat Bill Belton. They caught Ohio State by surprise with that last week because they hadn't shown it in several years, back to 2008. But Wisconsin's been ready for it for the most part today. It hurt Ohio State last week too. They didn't have their linebacker Andrew Sweat, who probably would have helped them thwart that Wildcat look from the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, and getting the adjustments on the field and getting things straightened out there with Sweat out of there. It kind of looked like they were in a little bit of disarray.
3rd and 7. McGloin back in. He's in the gun. They blitz Finellis. Good call. A screen. Green made one man miss, but couldn't get away from Borland.
There's a shock.
Yeah. Great reaction to the ball. Looked promising for Penn State when they were setting up the screen, but speed on defense rallies.
Watch him. See, it's just transition game. He was coming on a blitz. He saw the ball, just turn, get out there. This kid is a hustler. I can't say enough good things about him. I watched him as a freshman. You and I saw him when he first came up, and they used him as a pass rusher. And I said, man, who is that kid? Now they moved him to the middle, and he's every bit as good as he was on the outside.
Is he related at all?
He should be.
Here's Farrah to punt. Bradley decided not to go for it on 4th and 5 at midfield, and they down it. Stephen Obing Ajapong downed it. That's 2. Clemson and South Carolina, one of the great rivalries in college football. That's tonight, 7:45 right here on ESPN. Brought to you by Hampton Hotels in prime time, and then on ABC at 8 Eastern. Andrew Luck and Stanford. Nice day in that BCS National Championship picture. They're hosting Notre Dame. Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Southwest Airlines. 8 Eastern time tonight. Andrew Luck looks like the Heisman frontrunner most of the year. Now it seems a lot of people think he needs a big performance tonight with the national audience to bolster his candidacy.
Certainly capable.
Maybe we shouldn't count this guy out of the Heisman picture. Monty Ball in the shadow of their own end zone out to the 30-yard line.
Well, he got the edge, which means he had to get a nice block, which he does. Pedersen just sets the edge right away, and Ball, heck, it's just running to green.
14 career 100-yard games, 8 this season, 156 today. And he has been on a tremendous roll. Previous 3 games, he had averaged over 200 yards, 203 per game, with 2 games over 200 in the previous 3. He gets a breather as James White goes for a couple. He's one of the 3 finalists for the Doak Walker Award. Brett Bielema said when he called his parents to tell them he could hear his mother very emotional in the background. What a nice moment that was for the family. I think most people think Trent Richardson is the front runner for that because he's been at the top of the Heismanology here in recent weeks as well. But how do you argue against?
You always love to see a guy who is expected to have a big role in a big game, and he comes through. Monty Ball has done that.
We finally get Wilson down. Jack Crawford leading the way with help from Daquan Jones way back to the 23-yard line. Lost 9 on the sack. That'll be the last play of the 3rd quarter. But Monty Ball, with the numbers he's putting up, going to set a scoring record. He might be the leading rusher for the country by the time this regular season's over. He's had a magnificent year.
He really
I wouldn't
has.
go ahead and give that Doak Walker Award to Trent Richardson
so
yet.
fast.
I think the votes have to be in on Monday for the Doak Walker Award, so the voters had a chance. It might be a week from Monday. We'll check that. And we'll be back with the fourth quarter after this. We're back at Camp Randall Stadium. One of the great traditions here. Jump around heading to the fourth quarter. Our crew is caught up in it.
This whole place was just rocking.
Press box shakes.
House of pain.
I never knew how many hams we have on our crew. Until just now.
Crew's done a fantastic job. Even though
nice bunch of people.
they can't jump up and down very well, but they sure know how to shoot a game.
Oh, we have a great crew led by our producer, Bo Garrett, director Mike Roig. Russell Wilson throws. Incomplete, intended for Nick Toon. Wayne Nelson, Kelly Perry, Chris Swihart in charge of our technical crew, and had a wonderful Thanksgiving dinner here in Madison the other night with members of our crew who are here. In this business, a lot of time on the road, a lot of time away from family, even on holidays. So happy Thanksgiving belatedly to everybody out there. We hope you had a great holiday. Been a great weekend for Wisconsin football. How about the fans of football in this state? Between the Packers and Wisconsin, after today, they're going to be 21-2.
Two great quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers probably the best in all the land.
The punt is muffed by Drew Astorino. Brad Nortman's punt. And Connor O'Neill saying they have it again. Official took a hit. Andrew Lukasco came away from the pile with the ball, and it is jump around time again for the Wisconsin Partisans as Penn State has turned it over for the fourth time. The first three were all turned into touchdowns by the Badgers.
Sean, this is Howard Cosell said it a long time ago. I had a couple penalties in a game, and he said very un-Penn State-like, and that's what this game is today. Very un-Penn State-like. They're usually a team that's fundamentally good across the board. They've made every mistake you can make. Now, having said that, Wisconsin's beat the pants off them too.
James White's the running back. He's down to the 38-yard line. There have been two miscues on the kicking game for Tom Bradley today, and I'm not sure the decision, Matt, will be made about who the coach will be based on the results of one game. I think Tom Bradley has gotten rave reviews for what he's done both on and off the field here. This is his third game now as the interim head coach. He's said he would love to be the head coach going forward. 33 years on the staff, former Penn State player. Very highly regarded throughout college football, particularly in Happy Valley, where they know him very well. Here's White rumbling down to the 25. We spoke with Dave Joyner, the acting athletic director, before the game. Asked him if there was any kind of timetable, and he said they want to move quickly. He anticipates putting a committee together as soon as Monday. I asked him about the feeling from some that Penn State needs to totally clean house, sweep out anybody who's been here, and start over again. He said, I don't necessarily feel that way. I'm only concerned with finding the best man for the job, whether that's somebody who's already in-house or beyond. And David Joyner and the committee will figure out who that person is. They hope to have it done within a month. White again. He got rocked as he reached the 20 by Malcolm Willis. You know, I think it's a shame for Tom Bradley because let's just say none of this had happened. We all wish that this horrific scandal had not happened. It really is the actions allegedly of one man, Jerry Sandusky, who brought so much upon this, and then those who did not respond as they should have in the aftermath. But Tom Bradley might have very well been the head coach if Joe had just retired and gone off into the sunset. For him to be penalized, there's some people say, well, he should have known. He was on the staff all these years. He maintains he didn't know, and I believe him.
And then you take it to the next step down, Sean, because then you know there's been talk out there about should they go to a bowl or should they not go to a bowl. And this Penn State football team is a pretty good football team. Now today, you know, when it rains it pours, and Wisconsin has beat them. Yeah, how about it? But this team had nothing to do with any of that. And they came here with the same goals and same aspirations, and they did all the things that were required of them to be able to do to get to this point.
Well, they're going to go to a bowl game. I mean, the new president, Rod Erickson, has already said these players shouldn't be punished for the mistakes made by others. And Dave Joyner agreed when we spoke with him before the game tonight. James White, the last carry. Here's Monty Ball back in. He could tie the record for rushing touchdowns in a game for Wisconsin with 5. Brian Calhoun has that record. There is a flag down on that run. Let's go back to Tom Bradley, though. You're a Penn State alum. You know Tom Bradley very well. Do you think they need to go in-house? Outside the house, rather?
10 yards from the spot of the foul. Repeat third down.
Take this entire staff out, even though I think most people would say they'd be innocent victims, too, especially if they didn't know what was going on with the Sandusky mess in the aftermath. Or if they deem Tom Bradley's the right man, would you be comfortable as an alum keeping somebody from the present coaching staff and going forward?
Yeah, I would. I think what Dave Joyner said is 100% true. I think you have to find the best guy. Now, if he's on that staff, then hire him. If it's from outside the staff, then hire that guy. But you got to get the best staff, and you got to get moving forward because this timetable is short. You know, you're right in the middle of recruiting. It's the busiest time. They have a bunch of recruits already.
They have 15 commitments. Tom Bradley says if they don't win this game, and they're not going to, he will go immediately on the road. There's a little window. And his job is really to go visit the players who have already committed and convince them that they should stay with Penn State, that an entire university, the history of it, should not be totally undone by the mistakes made by a few. And it is still a few. You know, I feel bad that all of these Penn State alums around the world almost have to be ashamed of their college because of what a very few people did or did not do. The kick is up and good from Philip Welch. 44-yard field goal. Wisconsin's right on its average points per game with 45, leading 45-7 with 10:47 to go here in Madison. Welcome back to ESPN College Football from Madison, Wisconsin, where the Badgers are leading Penn State 45-7. Typical home game for Wisconsin. We continue Dr. Pepper's road to the championships. One of the upcoming championships, the Big Ten championship next Saturday night. Lucas Oil Field in Indianapolis. It'll be Michigan State and Wisconsin in a rematch. One of the best games of the season in college football. That dramatic Hail Mary ending. Welch kicks it out of bounds for the second time today. Penn State will start at the 40.
Free kick out of bounds by the kicking team. Ball will be placed at the 40-yard line. 1st and 10, Penn State.
ESPN's College Football is brought to you by Lexus. It's time to engineer amazing.
All Wisconsin today. Leading 45-7. Wildcat for Penn State on 1st and 10 from the Nittany Lions 40. Bill Belton for a yard, then out of bounds. Here's Reese Davis.
Sean, Virginia Tech is on its way to the ACC title game. It is not officially over, but it's over. David Wilson, who was held to just over 30 yards in the first half, well over 100 in the second half. Couple of scores. Logan Thomas has had a big day. It's 35-0 Hokies.
On their way back to the ACC championship game.
How good is Frank Beamer? Every year.
Down for double-digit wins every year. Rob Bolden is in now. He throws a sinker for ball one, short of Davon Smith. He was the starter for 7 games. this season, splitting time much of the year with Matt McGloin. When Tom Bradley got the job, he made McGloin the starter, and Bolden's been on the bench. Sophomore from Orchard Lake, Michigan. McGloin did not have a good day. 9 out of 17. 97 yards through an interception that helped turn the tide of this game. Brandon Beecham's in at running back now. Bolden flush from the pocket. 3rd down and 7. He tripped over the line of scrimmage with Marcus Cromartie nearest.
Sometimes that line can be pretty thick. I don't know if you realize that.
That line, in case anybody does not know, is not actually on the field.
Well, it's a tough day for the Penn State football team. But I got to tell you, there's always 2 sides to the coin, because this Wisconsin team came out prepared. They were physical. They did everything they said they were going to do. They didn't hide anything. They came up and just physically beat them at the line of scrimmage. And that's the difference in the game.
Should be a terrific Big Ten championship game next week against Michigan State. Abradaris makes a fair catch of the Anthony Fair punt. And the Badgers will start at the 9 after a 49-yard punt. Terrific matchup this week on Monday Night Football on ESPN. Eli Manning and the Giants back at his hometown of New Orleans to take on the Saints. Giants Saints, 8:30 Monday Night Football. Coverage starting at 7 with Monday Night Countdown served by Applebee's.
I think this might be the best year that Eli Manning has had.
Yeah, he's done a
really
great job.
Played very, very well.
He just lost a couple of games that you wouldn't think they would lose.
Yep.
Really made it much more difficult for the Giants in the NFC East with Dallas coming on. There's James White on 1st down. He gets smothered by Mike Hull and Jack Crawford. And a loss of a couple on 1st down. Now, who do you like in that Wisconsin-Michigan State, the rematch? Of course, the first game was at East Lansing, and the Spartans won on their home field. Wisconsin had a slight edge in play that day in terms of total yardage, but it is an outstanding team. A lot like this Wisconsin team. Very solid on both sides of the ball.
Very well coached, fundamentally sound.
White to the 11-yard line.
I think 2 things, Sean. I think, first of all, I think Kirk Cousins is playing better football now than he was early in the season. And then I also believe that Jarrell Worthy, their defensive tackle inside, really played well in that game, and I would expect that he'd play well again in this game. The Le'Veon Bell is a guy who's gotten better as the season's gone on. And then here's the big play down the field against Ohio State to B.J. Cunningham. I think they've gained more confidence, but I also believe that this Wisconsin team has done the same thing. I would say the way they're playing right now, I would say Wisconsin would be a favorite to me going into that game.
Incomplete pass intended for Nick Toon. So it's a 3 and out. Yeah, I would agree. I think it'll be close, but I would think Wisconsin will be a slight favorite. It's Brett Bielema, and the Badgers try to get back to the Rose Bowl. Of course, the question remains about Penn State. They're going to have a 9-3 season. Ordinarily, bowl games would be dying to take a Penn State team, particularly a 9-win team with the way they typically travel to bowl games, with the way they rate on television. Norton punts again. Justin Brown back for it from the 22. Tackled immediately by Brady Ewing.
You know, if you look at it football-wise, Sean, as you look at the bowl commitments from the Big Ten, the same things that existed 3 weeks ago still exist. They haven't changed.
Well, I would completely disagree with that.
How's that?
Well, the perception of Penn State.
The perception, but the facts.
If you're just judging it on football,
correct,
it's one thing.
Right.
But the question is, as we looked at those commitments, obviously the winner of that championship game next week is going to go to the BCS, the Rose Bowl. The Capital One Bowl is next. They can take any eligible Big Ten team after the Rose Bowl participant has been selected, or somebody picked that large for another BCS Bowl. There's a lot of talk about Michigan might be an at-large team wouldn't be available to Capital One. Now, the question we have for the bowls like the Capital One, the Outback, will they bypass Penn State? The rules are that a bowl game there at the top of that list, Capital One, Outback, they can select any eligible team except a team that has 2 fewer wins or 2 more losses in their overall record. So there won't be many teams relative to Penn State that come into play with that in mind. They're going to have 9 overall wins. But a couple of bowls high on that list could bypass them. Dave Joyner was telling us they can't fall any lower than the TaxSlayer.com Gator Bowl, which is the 4th choice after the Rose Bowl. But it'll be interesting to see what the perception of those people who pick the bowl teams is, because ordinarily they jump at Penn State. Will they think in some ways Penn State has been tarnished enough that they don't want them in their bowl game?
Well, remains to be seen. We'll see what happens. You know, in all this thing, Sean, Michigan, who had a big win today, Brady Hoke had a very good year.
A great year.
Yes.
Done a marvelous job. Here's Curtis Dukes for Penn State. On 3rd down, he converts. 12-yard gain. Well, Dave Joyner, the acting athletic director, took over for Tim Curley, took administrative leave pending his legal situation, charged with perjury in the investigation of the alleged crimes committed by Jerry Sandusky. Dave Joyner, hard to argue with that choice. This guy is about as solid as they come. Orthopedic surgeon, well known.
All-American.
The Olympic Committee, All-American football player and wrestler. He's been on the board of trustees since 2000. He stepped out of that role. And he told us before the game, I'll be the athletic director as long as Penn State wants me to, whether it's 5 days, 5 months, 5 years, or beyond. Whatever Penn State needs, that's what I'll do.
One thing about you talking about guys with great character, Dave Joyner has great character.
Bolden deep down the middle, and pass interference is going to be called. Ball was high. You wonder if it was catchable for Justin Brown, but he was hit while he was in the air. It's going to be a 15-yard walk-off from the line of scrimmage, and a 1st down for Penn State.
Pass interference, defense, number 32. 15 yards from the previous spot, automatic 1st down.
On Devin Gaulden, backup cornerback, true freshman, getting some playing time for Coach Bielema here at the end of a route. Let's bring in Tom Rinaldi.
Well, Sean, obviously the developments have continued in the Penn State sexual assault investigation. And on Monday, the Board of Trustees named former FBI Director Louis Free to oversee the school's internal investigation into the abuse allegations that, of course, ultimately cost University President Graham Spanier and Joe Paterno their jobs. Free said that he was going to run a comprehensive, fair, and quick review, Sean, dating all the way back to 1975, which is a lot longer back than the grand jury's presentment ran. And the administration says they'll support Free wherever the investigation leads, wherever the review leads. They're going to be as available and as cooperative as need be. So they're certainly trying to establish an independent tone to their own internal investigation.
Thank you, Tom. And as well they should. Here's Bolden throwing toward the end zone. Incomplete, intended for Brown. You know, as it pertains to the football, Matt, we talked earlier about Tom Bradley. Is he going to be dismissed as a candidate because people think they just need to sweep everybody out and start over? But you look at what Penn State's already done. Rod Erickson has been made the president. They thought it might be in her, but now they've said no. The trustees have great faith in him. He worked alongside Graham Spanier. So if the argument against Tom Bradley was, well, he's there, we need to go outside of the house, or he was there, he must have known, why isn't the same applied to Rod Erickson? Or why isn't it applied to Dave Joyner? He's been a trustee for over a decade. It's a small town. People talk. Why didn't he know? If we're giving him the benefit of the doubt and not holding that against him, why would it be different for Tom Bradley? I think if that's the standard, then Tom Bradley, to me, goes right to the front of who should be the coach, because he would have been the coach, I think, without this scandal if Joe Paterno had just stepped aside.
And so that goes back again, Sean, to what Dave Joyner, Dr. Joyner said when we spoke with him. the best man for the job is the best man for the job.
And should Tom Bradley wind up as a victim? I mean, not to compare it at all to the real victims in this, who are the children. But should Tom have his whole professional life undone, his dream job taken away because of the mistakes of others? Bolden throws it out of the back of the end zone. They'll turn it over on downs. 4.5 minutes to go. Wisconsin on its way to the Big Ten championship game with a dominant performance over the Penn State Nittany Lions today. Here's a look at the BCS standings brought to you by Tostitos. LSU now a convincing #1 after its home win yesterday over Arkansas. Alabama leading comfortably. Undoubtedly they'll remain 1 and 2. Oklahoma State probably going to move up to 3, you'd think, Matt.
That's interesting. Oklahoma State at the 3 spot. And then we could throw this whole thing again with LSU's going to play Georgia in the championship game for the SEC.
Team that's played very, very well for after the 0-2 start.
Which we saw in the second game of the season and knew that they had gotten better and would be playing their best football was all in front of them. And so Oklahoma State still sitting there with a decent shot at this thing if something were to happen in that championship game.
Have to be kicking themselves for that loss at Iowa State. And they still have a big game ahead against Oklahoma next Saturday in the Bedlam game in Stillwater. Chance for a marquee win. But they were hoping for help today from Auburn. They're not going to get it, it appears. 4 minutes to go. James White carried on first down. Monty Ball might have the rest of the day off after his 4 touchdowns and 156 yards rushing. White's across the 25. Here's Reese Davis.
All right, Sean, tonight on ABC, Stanford plays Notre Dame, so it's time for an innovative look at Stanford, brought to you by AT&T. Andrew Luck against Oregon didn't have a vintage Andrew Luck night. In this particular play, wanted to go to the left, but a lot of Duck defenders, so he tried to come back to the right side. Forced it into Colby Fleener. He was picked off by DeWitt Stuckey. See if the Irish can give Luck similar problems on ABC tonight.
All right, Reese, thank you. That should be fun to watch. Wilson, the veteran, running the play clock down to 3 seconds, dumps it in the flat, and Brady Ewing has a first down. Dealing with raving yesterday, what a great athlete Ewing is. Bo Ryan wanted him to play on their perennial top 25 basketball team here at Wisconsin.
You know what's interesting about Brady Ewing? I don't know if he has a carry, but he has a bunch of receptions. So they don't hand it to him, but they'll throw it to him. And the one thing that he does consistently well all the time, he throws his 245 pounds in that blocking, and he is good. Not only does he hit you and strike you, but he blocks you. He stays on you.
White. 57-yard run before he got flattened by Malcolm Willis. 2.5 minutes to go. Well, I gave my opinion about Tom Bradley, and I agree with Dave Joyner. I think he made the point that we were making. Tom Bradley shouldn't be excluded from the search just because he's been there, but at the same token, if he's not the best man for the job, they're not going to hire him. Well, how do you think it'll go? What do you think should happen?
I completely agree with that logic, Sean. I thought you were spot on. And I've known Tom Bradley for a long time, and I think he's done a great job in this interim basis. And he should have the same opportunity as any other candidates that they deem fit for the job. And if he's the best one, then hire him. And if he's not the best one, if they find someone better than Tom, then hire him.
Of course, a couple of gentlemen who would have been leading candidates, you would think, apparently aren't going to be in the picture anymore. Urban Meyer, it looks like, will be introduced perhaps as early as tomorrow at Ohio State as their new head coach. And Al Golden, Penn State, former team captain, player, tight end, assistant coach, just signed an extension to stay at Miami. He's very happy and excited about the future there. That would seem to take him out of the equation at Penn State. So you wonder who are the logical candidates with some of the field diminished. There's a fumble. White lost the ball out of midair, recovered by Malcolm Willis. Well, that's the first Wisconsin turnover of the game and just their 8th of the year. And Penn State takes over with 1:04 to go.
Sean, one thing about the Penn State search that, in my mind, is paramount, and that is whoever that coach is, he has to be above reproach. He has to be a man of character, and he's got to be a guy who's squeaky clean.
And I wonder if that is going to be in the back of people's minds. Tom Rinaldi mentioned Louis Freeh is going to start the investigation. Tom Bradley says he didn't know anything about Jerry Sandusky and what was going on. The other assistants say they didn't know either. But I wonder if people will be concerned about what the investigation might reveal about who else in the football building might have known this. And if that's a factor as they consider who the coach should be going forward. Beecham caught the pass. I believe Tom Bradley when he says he did not know.
Well, I applaud the decision by the university to hire Louis Freeh, and they will get their job done. And he is one of those guys who will make it happen. And then there's the ongoing investigation that, you know, still has to run its course, and there's a due process in this whole thing. And so I think sometimes what we do, which is not sometimes, in this case, it's probably the case, we become judge and jury right now in the court of public opinion, and we need to let it vet itself out and play itself out and let the people whose job it is to do these things do these things. And so I'm going to sit back and watch this whole thing unfold and see how it comes to fruition.
Of course, the other recent news that was made public, Joe Paterno, your old coach, battling lung cancer, getting treatment. We spoke with Jay Paterno last night. He said Joe is hanging in there pretty well, and I know you had a chance to stop by and visit him during the week. How's Joe doing?
He's doing okay. He's you know, this is a lot of stuff, obviously, and just wanted to stop and just see how he was doing, say hello to him, and he's hanging in there.
Yeah,
it's about all you can
as
really
well
do.
as to be expected. But Jay Paterno and the Paterno family optimistic that his dad will come through these treatments. He's tolerating them very well to this point. Disappointing day for Jay and the Nittany Lions. Brandon Beecham being helped off with an apparent left leg injury. That's a tough break. If it wasn't for the turnover, he wouldn't have been on the field. Now to get injured in the last minute of a rout. Very unfortunate. 2nd and 1. Bolden throwing toward the end zone and over the head of Derek Moy. Danielle Jean in coverage. It'll be 3rd and 1 with 24 seconds to go. So the regular season is over for Penn State. 9-3, and they'll await their bowl fate. And Wisconsin, with a date with Michigan State in the Big Ten championship game in Indianapolis next Saturday night. The winner will go to the Rose Bowl.
And what a game they played, Sean. I mean, they are to be commended. They were almost flawless in every phase of the game here today. They won the line of scrimmage, offensive line, defensive line. Coach Bielema has done a great job with his team, and he's taken a healthy and trending team into that championship game against Michigan State.
They extend the second longest home winning streak in school history. Moy gets the first down on the final play of the game. 16 straight home wins. They are 10-2 as they head toward Indianapolis in the date with the Spartans. Russell Wilson threw for 186, 2 touchdowns, and hurt Tom Bradley's team with his legs as well. Monty Ball, 25 carries, 156 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Aberderis, 7 catches for 93 and a touchdown. Leading the way for the victorious Badgers, here's Tom.
Thanks a lot, John. Brett, as complete a performance as we've seen from your team here this season. In particular, how would you describe your play up front from your offensive line?
Well, we knew going into this game it was going to be one up front, O-line and D-line, and I thought our guys controlled the game. Did a nice job. Can't say enough about our seniors. Obviously, went through 2 very difficult games in the world of college football, but our guys rose up and earned a chance to win this first trophy, and now we have a chance to go to Indianapolis and play a very good Michigan State team, and kind of a neat thing with a rematch.
Last season, Monty Ball against Ohio State never even sees the field. How would you describe from then to now the maturity and his development?
It is. It's a true testament to his character. His mom and dad raised him to be that way, and he comes out every day, practices, and prepares himself. And the things we see on Saturdays as fans and as people watching on TV are the things we see every day.
How much are you looking forward to Michigan State and another chance at them?
It's very exciting. Obviously got a lot of respect for them, and I know they did some good things today. To have an opportunity for this to come in the way we did is going to be special.
Thanks very much, Brett. We appreciate it. Monty, I just asked Coach a little bit about where you were a year ago when you never even saw the field against Ohio State. From then to now, how would you describe the journey?
It's an amazing journey. Amazing journey. I really cherish it because it made me who I am, and I'm really glad that I embraced the challenges that I did and carried it forward to this game and for the rest of the season.
34 touchdowns this season. Now another chance at Michigan State. What does that opportunity represent to this team?
A lot. I mean, they played a great game against us. They deserved that last one, but now we're going to make sure that we go into Indy prepared and ready to put it on them.
A chance to play for the conference championship. Congratulations, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sean?
All right, Tom, thank you. Final score here at Camp Randall Stadium in Madison, Wisconsin. The Badgers 45, the Penn State Nittany Lions 7. Coming up next on ESPN, stay tuned for College Football Scoreboard. Now for Matt Millen, Tom Rinaldi, and our great crew, led ably by producer Bo Garrett, director Mike Roy. Sean McDonough saying so long from Madison, Wisconsin.